The first thing to remember with any type of customization, and really any situation in life, is that basic is not always bad. Even simple changes can make the difference between a cookie cutter experience and one that is more our own. In QuickBooks, basic form customizations can be made without needing to spend a lot of time or effort or even having a lot of design sense. This includes basic but important tasks such as adding a logo or choosing whether to display company information. These changes are more about formatting and not about the layout of items on the screen or page. To get an idea of what types of templates we have, let's go ahead and activate our list menu from the top of the screen and come about 3/4 of the way down and choose templates. This is a template list, and it works just like every other list in QuickBooks. If we scroll through, we can see a variety of categories on the right. We have invoices, credit memos, cash sales receipts, purchase orders, statements, estimates, and sales orders. Let's scroll back up so that we can view invoices, and let's select the Rock Castle invoice from the list. Before I began working in technology, I owned a graphic design company. Throughout my tenure in both of these positions, I have always suggested never altering the default templates that come with programs. While it may seem like a good idea, it's also a good idea to be able to return back to the way things were originally if we should ever need to. When it comes to customizing forms and templates, this simply means that in general, we do not ever want to edit the original templates. Instead, we can access some options from the template menu, which is at the bottom left of the screen. Here we will see that we can create a new template. We could edit the existing template, but we just said that's not a best idea. We can delete templates, or what we want to do is make a duplicate or copy of this template. It asks us what kind of template we want to copy, and we'll leave it as an invoice, and we'll click or tap OK. The screen may flash just a little bit, and things may even move around, but what happens is we are presented now with a copy of the original Rock Castle invoice template. Notice that it does say copy of, and we want to change that when we go in and make edits to it anyway. So we'll display that templates menu one more time, and now we will choose to edit the copy of the original template. It starts with the ability to use a logo. If we have a logo, we can check the box, and then we will be prompted to upload the file. We're going to go to the desktop, and we're going to choose the image of an all steel hammer logo. This logo is available in your Chapter 10 Working Files folder, by the way. Now, as soon as we select an image, QuickBooks just gives us a quick message that tells us that this image is actually going to be copied into a specific folder. This particular message is telling us that there's already an image with the same name there. This can happen if we're re-importing an image. For example, if we had a logo, but maybe something has been updated on it, and now we want to change that within QuickBooks. If no image has ever been uploaded, this message will not appear. We do want to replace it, so we will say yes. And we should be able to see on the right-hand side in our preview that the image now appears to the left of our company information. Using this basic method, we can't do anything else with a picture. That's where it goes, and it basically is what it is, but it also looks pretty good, so maybe we don't need to be able to do anything more. Moving on to our other options, the next one that people really enjoy is the ability to select a color scheme. Now, there aren't a whole rainbow of color options. We can do black, gray, maroon, green, blue, or beige. We can kind of click on one. Let's go ahead and choose maroon, and then make sure that you click the button that says Apply the color scheme. And again, we can watch the preview to see how this is going to update. Remember that really bold or garish changes are not what we're looking for. They typically do not represent professionalism. So what we're seeing are really subtle changes that just add to our branding and to our professional identity. The next thing we can address is the use of fonts. And this really is kind of a big deal. Fonts are something that, in my opinion, are not changed often enough, and they should be one of the most common elements to change, other than the logo. My graphic design background forces me to mention that fonts are more important than many people ever consider. Fonts are a simple, subtle way of presenting a certain feel or style for our company. Fonts come in three basic styles. They're called serif, sans serif, and script. Serif simply means foot. It's a Latin word, actually. So if we have fonts like Times New Roman, where there's little feet on the bottom of I's and T's, as well as on the ends of things, These are serif fonts. On the other hand, a sans serif font means without feet, and fonts like Arial or Calibri that simply end in a straight line are not serif fonts, they're sans serif fonts. Script fonts are pretty self explanatory. But for our purposes, let's say that we were maybe a bakery or a dance studio. We might choose a more artistic looking font from the script family. On the other hand, if we're a sports team or a construction company, and yes, I know it is a stereotype, but these would probably not be the first impressions that we wanted to make. Instead, we would probably choose a more block like font, something that's going to be sans serif. It's probably also going to be heavier. Many companies have decided on one or two fonts to use as part of their branding, and I strongly recommend this. If it hasn't been done already, take a little bit to figure it out and maybe approach it with other people in your company if that's necessary. So, as part of our basic customization, we can choose different elements of our form to apply different fonts. Now, we're not going to go through all of these, but we can see a list for the title, the company name, the company address, and the data labels, as well as a few more fields if we scroll down. Each of these can be customized, and it is okay to mix and match. For example, we could choose the title, and then to the right, click or tap the Change Font button, and make a selection of the available fonts when the dialog box is displayed. Of course, part of the challenge is we will need to know exactly what these fonts are, but fortunately, for the last several years, we've had previews of fonts as we scroll through the list. This can make those types of choices a little more simple. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of this particular font, but we'll go ahead and choose Britannic and click OK. It's a little difficult to see, but our title has been changed on the upper right of the preview. The rest of the choices that we have are simply a matter of checkboxes. Do we want information like our company name, address, fax, phone, email, and website address to appear? And we might be saying, well, why would we not want that on something like an invoice? The answer is very simple. Many companies print invoices on letterhead that already has this information printed on it. If that's not true, if we're just printing on plain paper, then it's simply a matter of personal choice. Check the fields that we want to see, leave the ones that we do not want unchecked. Lastly, at the bottom, there's a check mark that says Print Status Stamps. Status stamps are things like paid that are used when we process things through QuickBooks. Most of the time, if we were going to print a hard copy, we would want these status stamps to actually show. So if a customer requested a copy of an invoice that was paid, it would actually say paid on it. If for some reason we do not want that, we would simply remove the check mark from this particular option. That's actually all there is to making basic customizations. They're pretty straightforward, don't take a lot of time, and don't require any technical knowledge or skill. That's good for most of us, even if just for time's sake. If we're ready to save our changes, we could click OK. We could also click Print Preview on the right-hand side to see a better copy rather than just the preview that we can see on this particular screen. If we want to do additional customizations, we can leave this dialog box open, and at the bottom, we have the option to either work with additional customizations or the Layout Designer.